Okay, go.
What is your name?
Reuben C. Williams.
When is your birthday?
The 9th of September, whenever the 9th of September.
1926.
That's so she'd asked when I was born. So it's my birthday.
Did you like school?
Yeah, I thought school was pretty cool.
What was your favorite subject?
My favorite was recess.
Did you have a job in school?
Did I have a? No, I did not have a job.
What did you do in your free time?
Played with the other students.
What were some rules in your home?
What were some of the rules in my house?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had to mind my mother and my father and do what they said.
When were you born?
September the 9th in 1926.
Who were your parents?
Say that again.
Who were your parents?
Ike Williams and Doris Moore Williams.
Mom, did you have any siblings?
Did I have what?
Any siblings?
I had a lot of siblings. You know how many? I had 12 siblings. There was 13 in my family.
How many girls and how many boys?
How many girls and how many boys?
There was, let's see, I believe 7 girls and 6 boys.
Is that all for him?
Yeah.
You want to do me?
Sure. So, what is your name?
Norma Elizabeth Wyrick Williams.
When is your birthday?
Say that again.
When is your birthday?
April 7th.
Did you like school?
Well, yes, I did. Sometimes.
What was your favorite subject?
Oh, probably writing.
Did you have a job in school?
No. Well, when I got older, I did when I got to high school.
What did you do in your free time?
Played outside with my friends.
What were some rules in your home?
What were the rules? And I don't know. I think there was just me. I didn't have any brothers and sisters, so there wasn't really much rules. But I had certain things that I had to do about keeping my room clean and making sure that there weren't any dirty dishes, things like that.
When were you born?
1931.
Did you have any siblings?
Nope.
Alright.
It was just me. And I was not a spoiled brat.
She was a spoiled brat.
Granddaddy, I have another question that I forgot. Where were you born?
Where was I born?
Yeah.
Fort Necessity, Louisiana.
And where were you born?
Houston, Texas. Actually, I was born in the same hospital that JJ was born in, only many years later. St. Joseph's Hospital in Houston.
What school did you go to?
Well, my grade school was Travis, and the junior high was Hogg, and high school where I graduated from was Reagan. And at that time, there were only 7 high schools in Houston.
No?
And now, I don't know, there's probably 20.
Granddaddy, where did you go to school?
Fort Necessity, Louisiana.
Asking how many rooms that school had.
How many rooms did that school have?
Well, the main building had, I believe, 4 or 5 rooms.
What? Really?
Yeah?
Wow. How
My grandfather helped build a school.
Really?
Oh, mine was just like a normal school in the city. He was in a country school.
Was anything was any like technology invented when you were a kid?
No, but I was thinking of something that might be kind of interesting. We always, and I don't know if you do this still or not, but we always started our day with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Do you still do that?
Yeah.
Only the Pledge of Allegiance was a little different than it is now. They added something in about in the 40s or 50s, or no, maybe it was the 60s, where it says one nation under God, indivisible. That under God didn't used to be there. It was one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, 'cause now it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Yes.
Very good.
You do it every day at school.
Do you still have prayers?
No, I don't think so, but you do the pledge of allegiance.
You still going to the same school you were?
Yeah.
When are you going to have to go to a different school? Do you know?
About 4 years, in 7th grade. So.
Well, you know, I think it was really cool to record this because it'll always be there. I think that was good.
Yeah. Were you in any special programs at school?
No.
Did you participate in anything?
Did I what?
Participate in any fun programs?
No, we didn't really have that too much in school.
Really?
You have to remember how many years ago that was. If I will see, my birthday's right after yours.
Really?
Mine's on April 7th. And I will be 89. And I started to school when I was 5 years old.
Really?
First grade.
Mine starts at 3, and you start in pre-K.
So that was what you called back in the old days. Dark ages. Long time ago.
Has anything changed since from the years anything that you used to have every in your everyday life? Has it changed?
Yeah, we didn't have television. There was no television.
Wow.
There were very, very few airplanes.
Yeah, because the Wright brothers made the first successful airplane, and that was a long time ago, and there weren't very much.
Yeah. And when we had a telephone, now Granddaddy, Gigi Daddy didn't have a phone. They lived out in the country, so they didn't have phones. We had a phone, but we had party lines. Have you ever heard of what a party line is?
No, but is it like one of those phones where you pick it up and hold, and then it has a cord?
Yeah, several people were on the same, and each house had a little bit different ring. That one would ring once, and this one twice, and that one 3 times. But people always like to go like this very carefully and listen in to what ring number 1 was saying to whoever called her. But those were the party lines.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's funny because you would hear what other people are saying to another person.
Well, things are in some respect a lot better now than they used to be. But when I was going to school, you had elementary school till 6, junior high 7, 8, 9, high school, 10, 11, 12. And I don't understand the new middle school and stuff like that. That was all different.
Did they have 12 grades when you were going to school?
They used to have just 11 grades.
Really? They
Uh-huh.
didn't have
Well, and they added that extra grade
which is
at some
college.
point when I was in school, so that I had to go that extra 12.
Yeah, so in 12 it's college. So they're basically 11 grades in like one thing, which is college. And you have to stay there for like at least 3 years, at least 4. Cause like it depends what you're gonna be when you grow up.
Well, something else, when I was in high school, if you didn't have enough money, which that was in the days that the country had been in a big depression, and so nobody had any money. Everybody some of our friends didn't even have enough money to pay their light bills or their gas bills.
How much
So-
was that?
How much?
How much money?
Not much, but
So,
there weren't enough jobs for people. So people didn't have any work.
that's
And without any work, they didn't have any money. Without any money, you can't pay your bills. So they would turn off the electricity or the gas. And some of our friends had to build a little bonfire in the backyard to cook their food with because they didn't have enough money. We didn't have very much money, but my daddy worked for his brother-in-law who made sure that we had some money.
Was there much buildings when you were a kid?
What?
Was there like a lot of buildings when you were a kid?
No,
Not much.
not much.
Like were there like little small houses or like really tall buildings?
Well, small houses. As a matter of fact, I was looking at this magazine a while ago and saw a picture in here that I had to really stare at because it looks exactly like the house that I basically grew up in. We didn't own a house, we rented. And the house that I lived in was a 2-family house. It's called a duplex. And it was a house originally, but it was divided up into like 2 units, 2 apartments. And we lived in one side, which was like 4 rooms. A living room, a bathroom, a bedroom, and another little bedroom, another room, I guess, and the kitchen. And it wasn't very big at all. And then when I saw this picture in this magazine, I had to stare at it because it looks like a very cleaned up, painted
Why don't you just start with
version of
Oh,
the
you
house
found it.
that I lived in. It looked just like that. And actually the house number was the same as the one in that picture. And this one is in the same neighborhood as the one I grew up in
That's cool.
in Houston. But that's what the house looked like, only it wasn't that pretty, because it didn't have all that fresh paint and everything.
Yeah, 'cause I don't think that was ever invented, like all that stuff.
And he grew up out in the country. And when we got married, his family still lived out in the country. And I would help my mother-in-law do the laundry. And we had a washing machine that doesn't look like the washing machines today. It's a washing machine that had a big tub and it was on legs and it had a wringer. And clothes would wash here, and then you'd take them out and run them through the wringer that's kind of like a pasta maker. If you've ever seen a pasta maker, well, you run the pasta through there to flatten it. Well, you would run the clothes through there to wring the water out. And then we would hang them on the fence row because there were so many kids in the family, had so much laundry. There weren't enough clotheslines, so we would hang them on the fence to dry. And I learned how to milk a cow.
You never milked a cow.
Marguerite and Doris took me out and showed me how to milk a cow and stood there and laughed at me while I tried to figure it out. But I finally got the milk out. Those were the good old days. So different now.
So were the pictures like old like that and like gray and like not how they're like colorful today? So they were like gray, not colorful? Like,
I didn't hear that last.
So like, did the pictures like look different in the past?
What she asked you, I couldn't hear.
I don't know how to answer that really.
Like, did it look like gray? Was it colorful? Is there more color and stuff? Is there like more detail? Like, has the pictures been different?
Pictures. Yeah.
Have like movies changed in the past?
Mm-hmm.
Like how?
I don't even know how to answer that either.
Like, were they like gray, not colorful? Like,
Yeah, well, no, they didn't. They used to be just be black and white. No color. Then we got what's called Technicolor, and then Cinema Color and whatever.
What are you talking about?
like have movies changed, like in color and stuff?
You're gonna have to turn around a little bit. I couldn't hear you.
Have movies changed in color or like how it works or anything like that when you were a kid?
I still don't know what you're asking.
So, have the movies changed?
Movies? Yeah, they've changed a lot.
Yeah,
They used to be all in black and white.
Yeah.
And there's no color. There was no colored movies at all.
And the acting was pretty yucky. They weren't too good, but they're fun to watch.
And like now, like the actors are so good and there's so many effects and like it was colorful. Now it's changed a lot.
Yeah. And we watch a lot of the old cowboy movies. And the other night we watched some that were made when I was like 2 or 3 years old. So, you know, those are old.
Very.
And they're so funny. And like, if somebody, these are cowboy movies, and if somebody would shoot a gun, they'd go, oh, oh. The person who got shot would go, oh, oh, and then fall on the floor. Kind of dumb,
Yeah.
but funny.
Yeah. And like now in movies when people get shot they just like fall.
Yeah.
And like it's all bloody because a few days ago I watched a movie Midway and it's a true story about World War II. So like people were getting shot and they would just fall.
Yeah.
Do you watch a lot of movies?
Yeah, like now I like watch at least one every weekend. I've watched like 2 this weekend. I don't know.
Well, and another thing about Gigi Daddy is he left the farm and joined the Navy when he was 17 years old.
Really? How long did he stay in?
2 years.
Alright,
Oh,
so
was it 2 or?
2 years in the Navy.
what did you,
It was on a
what
ship.
year? So what did, like what year? Like World War II, World War One? What kind of war?
World War
Which
II.
war? World War II.
And have you heard about Iwo Jima?
No.
You'll study that in school. There were big battles with the Japanese
I heard that in the
Iwo
movie.
Jima and Okinawa, and he was in all of those places on the ship.
Wow. I heard that in the movie they were trying to get to Tokyo. And where I heard in the movie about World War II, they were trying to get to Tokyo. So, cause like I think, cause like the Japanese were trying to attack them a lot, and like, the American flag. So
Well, sometime when you go down to see the boys in Austin, maybe you can go take a little family excursion over to Fredericksburg, where they have the World War II Museum of the Pacific War. And his picture is on a wall. We got a plaque for him, and it's on a wall down there. And sometime that would be something.
that's cool.
Colton and Isaac have seen it.
That's cool that his picture is on the wall.
Yeah, it is cool.
Mhm.
In fact, where is that picture?
Is it over there?
Over here, grandmother.
Oh, it's that one right there. That's the picture that's. So I think, now, are you gonna ask Poppy and JJ some questions too?
I don't know.
It'd be kind of interesting to compare what you know today and what your mom can tell you, and then what Poppy and JJ, how they grew up all the way to us, and how many generations that is. I think you should do that.
Oh, my mom.
That would be interesting,
Yeah.
because there's gonna be a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Because he would have to go to school on a horse.
Really?
No, I never rode a horse to school.
No, how did you get to school?
So I walked some, and then I rode a bus.
So buses for me?
They had buses back then, yeah.
It's gonna be a big difference for like the answers from you and my parents because it's been a long time from your childhood to my parents.
And I learned to drive a car and got a license when I was 16.
Really?
But I rode in a buggy. You know what? Remember a buggy? You see a buggy on the movies?
Yeah.
You know, a buggy with a horse and a front pulling it. I
Yeah.
rode the buggy.
Yeah, I heard. Like I had that for one of the things on my scavenger hunt because those are hard cars to find because they're old. They're old cars.
Well, he and his brother, now he has a brother that's 3 years older than he is. And if you think he's old, his brother's 96. He's old. But they used to ride the horse together. And he would always ride in the front and his brother behind him.
No, quite backwards. My brother rode in the front. I
And
rode
he
behind
rode
him.
in the back.
And
And
then
they would argue about if they had to ride the horse through the gate. One
we had
would
to
have
open and
get
close
out,
the gates.
open the gate.
But let me tell you something funny about this. We had to wear hats. My mother made us wear straw hats. And his brim of his hat would hit me right in the face, right on the nose and the mouth. And I'd complain about that all the time.
Yeah.
And his brother would say, Bobby, get down, open the gate.
And I'd say, I didn't open it.
He'd say, get down and close the gate, and he'd say, I didn't open it, so I'm not gonna close it.
But it was, we played a lot in the country. And I went fishing a lot and hunting in the woods.
And we played hide and seek a lot. You still play hide and seek?
Yeah.
That was always fun.
Mhm.
And when it got dark, you knew it was time to go home. And my mother would whistle. And when I heard her whistle, I knew it was time for me to go home.
That's cool.
And we had where we lived close by was a river. And I built a diving board to jump off of into the river.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. But when I was in the Navy, was gone, my oldest sister's husband jumped off the diving board and killed himself. Yeah, that I had built. And I didn't know anything about it. They wouldn't tell me that happened. Because it was my diving board he jumped off of. But he died.
Now, what do all these questions, are they, everybody's asking questions of their grandparents or great-grandparents?
So my read class, my read teacher gave everybody in my read class an assignment to ask their family members like what it was like to be a kid, and like I've added some questions like what is your name and what is your birthday, but like the ones that I didn't add is did you like school? What was your favorite subject? Did you have a job in school? What did you do in your free time? And what were some rules in your home? Those I didn't add. Yeah, so we're doing that, and my teacher said the order is better because like a lot's changed since now.
And by the time you have a little boy or girl in Canyon Creek Elementary, it's going to be a lot different than today.
Uh-huh.
Although I don't imagine it's really that much different from when your mother was there.
Yeah. Just like the pictures could be like a little different, like the clothing. Was the clothing different from now? Like sweaters?
Did Scotty go to grade school where she's going?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
All three kids went to Canyon Creek Elementary, and now there they are going same school.
Yeah. Like have the clothing changed, like were there jeans or sweaters or like leather clothes and like shoes and shoes?
Say that again.
Like have clothing changed, like were there jewelry and sweaters and jeans? And
Yeah.
shoes and jeans? Leather.
The girls didn't wear long pants very much. It was always dresses. Then when I got about junior high maybe, then they started getting some blue jeans and always rolled them up about 2 turns. Yeah, dresses were kind of long.
So was there any like jewelry, like bracelets and like cool glasses,
No,
necklaces?
well, I don't know. We didn't have a whole lot of money, so I know a couple of girls in school, their families had more money and they had maybe a little bit of jewelry, but not too
Hey, what? Come here.
Were there shoes like
Come here.
flops and slides?
Come around here.
No.
Come around here.
No, but
Come here.
penny loafers,
What have you been
And-
doing?
saddle shoes. That was what was
You
in
got
style.
something? What is that?
I
With candy?
loved my penny loafers, and we always wore socks.
I always wear socks with my bands.
That feels so much better with socks.
Yeah.
They don't rub the feet so bad. It's a nice world today, but it was a nice world back then too.
Mm-hmm.
In the car I learned to drive in was probably about as long as this room. It was so long. It wasn't really that long, but it was a long car.
That's a big car.
It was a big car. Somewhere I have a picture of me standing by that car. Next time I find it, I'll save it and show it to you.
What? You come in here, yeah. I want you in here.
Now you'll have to.
That's funny.
Do you have?
Yeah.
Do many of your friends at school have great grandparents?
I don't think so. I think they all died.
Probably. So you'd be the only one with great grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Are you finished with your questions? Or are you still?
She's all kinds of things.
All kinds of
And
things.
we're just talking about